Now I have the pleasure to introduce someone I don't have normally to introduce, Kathleen Schröter, because she helped me with moderating this event. And she will now give a lecture. And I heard that you had been elected as one of the 13 most important women in tech on this planet. So this is a cool title, Kathleen Schröter.
Thank you. Great, hi. Who of you is working in VR and AR? Hands up. It's less than I thought. Who are the others? What are the others doing? You are interested in VR, AR, AI maybe? Okay. Yeah, I was asked to give a presentation much more on a broader range of how do we use virtual, augmented, or anything that is within our augmented, mixed reality, and so forth. There are different terms in marketing and also in technology. So that's why I'm not sticking to our corporate design with Fraunhofer. I'm giving you much more of this broad range. It's not all Fraunhofer's work. It's just actually just a tiny bit. In the preparation of this talk, I stumbled over this, and I found this collection of arts, of those paintings that, or drawings that different artists did in the 30s. And they envisioned our future basically like that. This is an example for all our smartphones nowadays, and they envisioned it that we all would have them with just a small box, our transmitters, placed as big as a camera. Obviously, that's not how it is today, but hey, they envisioned that in the 30s, and look at the plane that is in the background. I guess that is one of the flying cars. So that's how they envisioned that in the 30s. Nowadays at Fraunhofer, we always have been asked, hey, when is the holodeck coming? So a lot of people, since we have Star Trek, say, yes, that's exactly what I want to have. And I think that's in the 70s. So a lot of people are asking us that because they think this is immersion. This is the interactive immersion and communication. Well, today, this next big VR hype is basically coming because of this guy. Who knows him? God, only 3? Okay. This is Palmer Luckey. Rumor or legend has it that he was this guy, 20 years or something old, in his parents' garage building this head-mounted display. And he raised on Kickstarter around $2 million, which is a lot for Kickstarter. Well, basically, not even 2 years later, he sold it for $2 billion. No, actually even more than $2 billion US dollars to Facebook. So he's the creator behind Oculus. He's now 23 years or something and, well, kind of wealthy. The latest movie we saw using virtual reality was Ready Player One. Who did see that? See, that's good for lunch, after lunch, that you're... yeah, Ready Player One is a movie based on a story written in 2011. Ernest Cline was the narrator. Basically, hey, for those of you who have seen it, did you like it? So, well, I think it's good popcorn cinema. What it leaks is everything that we see in there. Basically, for everybody who didn't see it, it's the oasis. In 2045, we are all living in virtual reality because we can't cope up with the real world anymore, because we basically destroyed it and it's ugly and nobody wants to live in that. So we all escape in virtual reality in this world called Oasis. We work in there, we play in there, we have our relationships in there. And that's the catchy phrase, accept your reality or fight for a better one. And you fight in the Oasis for your better one. Why I was not a big fan of the movie is basically, well, all the technologies that you see there, it's basically what we have now. So the VR headsets, the tablets, like everything that they show in this movie, and that is a really big budget movie from Steven Spielberg, it's all already here. So hopefully you or some others can envision a better or a more sophisticated future in 2045. Well, when virtual reality is used, a lot of people are basically referring to that. And this is definitely giving you like the experience in virtual reality is that you are somewhere else, and this is based on the saying that the perception of non-mediation, you have the sense of being there. A lot of people saying, when you watch a movie, you say, I watched this in this movie, I watched it. When I say I have a virtual reality experience, then people say, I have been on the moon, I have been on a surfboard. It's always this presence, being there. And here you see an example that we saw earlier with the Yulu Wong showed that the walk experience, basically you do this in the IMAX VR, and there's this small part on the floor, and you really think you are walking between the towers, and you're basically fearing that you would fall down. I question if VR and AR could, connect the disconnected society, so to say. And we also see that in China, that kids nowadays basically don't talk with each other anymore. They not like face to face, they are sitting opposite each other, but they are communicating with their smartphones. And that's how they even send their smileys and laugh, but they don't laugh in each other's faces. But maybe we can basically use that in a different way and say, how about we bring my best friends from Australia in one room with myself and we can play cards together. So maybe this is an option in virtual reality. To give you an overview how you can see virtual reality already, this is how they envision virtual reality cinemas. Basically, what it is now is either panorama cinemas, there are not that many, but there are some, and then there's something called the VR cinemas where you have those chairs that spin around, and basically you have different options. And I think Sönke Kirchhoff is also providing those things to different festivals where you can see a lot of different use cases, VR experiences. On the headsets, mostly it's with Samsung Gear VR, because that's the easiest way to bring the experience to the people. Another example would be the IMAX VR experience. IMAX announced that 2 years ago that they will open a lot of virtual reality cinemas. What it looks like is basically you come in this, it looks a bit like a cinema. You come in this room and there are those posters, and you can see what the experience is, how long they are, and what you have to pay for it. And basically you buy a ticket and go in one of those boxes. And it's just empty boxes where there is a person that is helping you to put the gears on. In this case, it's not Samsung Gear VR, but it's HTC Vive. And here is one example. They have mostly HTC Vive and 2 Star VR. This is with head tracking and motion tracking. You see those red dots are the trackers. They nicely curate what you can see there at VR IMAX. One of the examples is the Martian VR experience, where you basically, this is kind of an experience to do merchandising for big movies. So the Martian was a big movie, and we bring people on Mars, and you can be the astronaut and be in his foot, so to say, in his shoes. Another experience would be like you are one of the super heroes, and you can fight in one of your favorite movies. What we see a lot is the uses of, as I said, the Samsung Gear VR. Here are some examples on exhibitions. In the last years, a lot of companies use it on trade shows to attract, but also to show what they can bring to the exhibition. For instance, this small part down there, this is an example from our work at Fraunhofer. when you have big machineries and you are in one of those trade shows where it's about the Hannover Messe, one of the big manufacturing exhibitions, it's basically too expensive to bring the big machinery on the booth. And also, it's the logistics, but it's also the booth space that is just too expensive. So how about you bring it virtually there? And then it makes sense. So this is a lot of examples from CES and other trade shows where it's all about attracting or replacing the analog object. One of my favorite examples here is Cirque du Soleil. I was at the NAB, and basically when you're at a big trade show where it's all blinking TVs all over, at the end you are really tired and you want to have some peace. I was walking through the exhibition, and at some point I saw, oh, they are showing Cirque du Soleil. I wanted to see it because actually I knew that it's there and that it is done by Felix and Paul, who are really great producers and directors for virtual experiences. And being in this experience, Cirque du Soleil, 15 minutes, it's a 15 minutes, 360 experience, actually created magic for me. It created magic. I didn't realize that I was there for 15 minutes, and they really put me underwater with the artists, and they were all around me. And Felix and Paul know how to do it, like how to avoid the technical issues that we know of stitching, artifacts, and so forth. They just know how to create that, and they have a nice story. They know how to write and create a story in 360 degrees, and that's why I think it was a beautiful and magic experience to sit there for 15 minutes, and after that, I was so happy, and I didn't even think about the whole day at NAB anymore.